Over the next 30 years, Australian cities are going to face unprecedented change unlike ever before. With dynamics like increasingly unstable weather conditions and ballooning populations, planners play a vital role in preparing for and anticipating the challenges of tomorrow. As a strategic planner myself, I wanted to better understand how Australian cities were planning to address the challenges of the next 30 years. I began by examining each of the city's strategic plans, its metropolitan blueprint for the future, to better understand what the big challenges each city was facing and whether there were any commonalities. Looking at each city's priorities and its vision for the future, very quickly a number of key words began to appear again and again and again over each of the plans. So using these broad themes, I want to take a trip around Australia and explore some of the unique ways in which Australian cities are planning for the future. Out of all the key themes, livability appeared the most frequently across the city strategies. Let's have a look at two cities which are taking very different approaches to making their cities more livable. Located in the north of Australia, Darwin has a unique climate with just two seasons, wet and dry. In 1996, there was an average of 11 days per year where the temperature exceeded 35 degrees Celsius. By 2070, this is expected to increase to up to 308 days per year. In 2019, the City of Darwin partnered with the CSIRO to pioneer the Darwin Living Labs initiative. The Darwin Living Labs brings together science and urban planning to explore innovative approaches to making Darwin a cooler place to live. Through initiatives such as cooling street art, living green walls, and sophisticated heat matting techniques, Darwin is leading the way in tropical urbanism. Moving further south to the Greater Adelaide region, maintaining high standards of livability involves making sure that all of the city's residents have access to high quality housing. Back in 2010, the Greater Adelaide 30-year plan set out an ambitious target for renewing up to 4,500 outdated housing trust buildings, focusing specifically on locations within 10 kilometres of the CBD. This was to ensure that the city's most vulnerable residents can live in close proximity to transport, jobs and services. The city continues to champion affordable housing projects and has seen some great examples of inclusive and responsive developments to meet the needs of its residents, so that Greater Adelaide remains a place for everyone. From heatwaves and bushfires to floods and droughts, Australians are used to living in some of the harshest climate conditions in the world. With increasingly extreme weather events on the rise, city planners play an important role in ensuring the use of our resources is sustainable and our urban areas are resilient to climate change. One city that's leading the way on sustainability is the nation's capital. In 2019, Canberra hit an important milestone, achieving 100% renewable power. And it's not stopping there. By 2045, Canberra is on track to reach net zero carbon emissions. To achieve this ambitious target, Canberra is deploying a range of initiatives. This includes supporting the country's largest community solar farm, which will stop at least 1,700 tonnes of CO2 being released each year. Investing in growing in Canberra's battery network to provide an additional 250 megawatts of power storage and enable an even greater network of renewable energy generation. And leading the way in sustainable transport with a green infrastructure plan that prioritises investment in light rail and rapid bus transit. A recent study has even named Canberra as the world's most sustainable city. Further north, residents of southeast Queensland have been experiencing firsthand the impacts of a changing climate. Home to more than 3.5 million residents, the southeast Queensland region covers 12 local government areas, stretching from Noosa in the north to Coolangatta in the south. Queensland's subtropical climate makes it one of the most disaster-prone areas in Australia. Since 2011, the state has faced more than 70 major disaster events, ranging from floods and fires to cyclones and storms. To prepare for the inevitability of future major climate events, Southeast Queensland has focused on collaboration. For example, in response to the devastating Brisbane floods in 2011, 4 local councils came together to develop the Brisbane Floodplain Management Strategy. The strategy was the first of its kind in Australia and sets a national benchmark for managing flood risk. Strategic plans also play a role in securing prosperity and economic growth. In Greater Melbourne, the region is drawing on its strengths in health, education, and scientific innovation to boost its global competitiveness. Plan Melbourne, the region's strategic plan, identifies 7 national employment and innovation clusters, which are being prioritised as hubs for jobs and knowledge sharing. Take, for example, the Parkville cluster, which is home to some of the country's leading scientific research and health facilities. The cluster alone employs more than 40,000 people and is well connected to major universities and the central business district. In 2025, the opening of a new metro station will further increase accessibility to this world-leading cluster. On the other side of the city, in Fisherman's Bend, Australia's largest urban renewal precinct is establishing a new 230-hectare employment zone, which is expected to provide up to 40,000 new jobs by 2050. This will see investment in advanced manufacturing, defence, engineering, and the creative industries. Across the Bass Strait, the city of Hobart is taking a different approach and capitalising on its geographic positioning to grow its prosperity. As one of only 5 cities in the world with direct access to the South Pole, Hobart has become the most established gateway to Antarctica. With direct flights from Hobart Airport to Antarctica's 2 runways, key initiatives that will further see Hobart cement its position as a leading gateway include investment in Hobart Airport as a transport hub, including lengthening of the runway to allow for bigger cargo planes to land. Transformation of the Port of Hobart as a freight and logistics hub for Antarctic exploration. And development of an Antarctic and science hub at Macquarie Point. Drawing on its geographic advantages, Hobart is using Antarctic diplomacy as a tool to advance the city's future prosperity. Being such a large country can create connectivity and logistical challenges for all Australian cities. As Australia's population continues to rapidly grow, more and more major infrastructure projects are happening right across the country to keep up with the pace of change. Strategic plans play a fundamental role in setting out future infrastructure priorities to help keep cities moving and connected. As the world's most isolated capital city, Perth is no stranger to connectivity challenges. Its geographic isolation, as well as its sprawling metropolitan area stretching 150 kilometres north to south, makes keeping people connected both within and around the city a constant challenge. The Perth and Peel Strategic Plan anticipates its population growing to 3.5 million residents by 2050. The region has been investing in and planning for a range of major projects that will ensure that the growing city stays connected in the future. A new rail line is planned to open in 2022, which will connect the Perth Airport to the city and other metropolitan destinations. The project will see the opening of 3 new train stations and will be the first time the city is connected to the airport by rail, with a journey just taking under 20 minutes. Alongside hard infrastructure, Perth has also been investing in social and cultural connectivity, ensuring that the urban environment is welcoming for people. The recently developed Yagan Square is located in the heart of the city. In addition to being an important transport hub, the square is an inclusive place for people to socially connect in welcoming public spaces which include everything from native gardens, interactive public art, and cultural attractions. The final stop on our trip around Australia's city plans is Greater Sydney. As Australia's most populous urban area, Greater Sydney is proposing a transformational city strategy which will see not one, but 3 cities grow over the next 40 years. Referred to as the Metropolis of 3 cities, Sydney's strategic plan is a response to the region's sprawling growth in the west. Historically, the pace of residential change in Western Sydney has outstripped jobs growth, resulting in a significant strain on existing infrastructure as people commute to the east for work. The vision for Greater Sydney will see Sydney's CBD continue to be a global and financial hub. Alongside this, significant investment in Parramatta will see Sydney's second city become the new administrative centre for the Greater Sydney region. And then, moving further west, it's envisaged that a cluster of 3 major centres will form the new Western Parkland city, which will be anchored by a 24-hour airport, which will truly unlock new connectivity possibilities for the Greater Sydney region. An ambitious infrastructure and transportation program will see new roads, rail and freight routes better connect each of these urban hubs in the future. Going through these city plans has been really inspiring and has reminded me of just how important all the work that planners do every single day in preparing for and managing future change in our cities. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many more amazing projects and examples of great city shaping initiatives, both big and small, that are happening right across the country. I hope you found it as fun as I have exploring some of Australia's city plans. My name is Dano Fadges, and if you've liked today's video, please hit that red subscribe button below. Your support really helps me, and I'll see you next time.